Yo, what's going on, everybody? Today we got a new JJK chapter, JJK 158. Man, we got some lore, we got some new characters, we got some funny moments, and overall we got a nice, solid, good chapter building up into the Culling Game because it is about to start next week officially. Oh man, I'm hyped. But without wasting any time, let's get into the video. The chapter opens up with Hikari and Kirara being brought up to speed about Gojo being sealed, which shocks Hikari. Panda lets everyone know about Yaga's death. He apologizes for keeping it to himself, but Panda tells Yuji did not get too upset because he didn't die in Shibuya, he died after that. The higher ups and him kind of got into it, and Yuji still seemed concerned and he looked like he was about to break down again, but Panda tells him it's alright, it's fine, don't get too upset. And I like how we're still keeping this narrative that Yuji is still very, he's still dealing with the idea of him pretty much taking the burden of the Shibuya incident arc. He's still not still over that, and which totally makes sense because it was cool to see Panda like realize what he said, and like he made sure to keep everything still like it wasn't Yuji's fault, it's not your fault, none of this happened, because obviously if Yuji really felt that like, man, Yaga died too because of me and all of that, it would have just been terrible for Yuji's mental state, as it's already not great as it is, because Yuji is just right now, we all know Yuji is kind of messed up. He's still, kind of sad after all that what happened in Shibuya, rightfully so. But let's get back into the chapter. Hikari says the people I'm indebted to are going one after another, and the importance obviously of Yaga and Gojo Hikari, they're kind of looked at as like the guys who really looked out for the sorcerers more so than like the higher ups who kind of just looked out for their own selves. And we got a funny like Ghibli movie line of him saying, I haven't been this depressed since Yaku got shot by an arrow, which I'm not up to speed with Ghibli. I just kind of had to look that up because I'm like, what type of reference is this? But that's kind of cool seeing a little Ghibli movie reference in here. Hikari restates that they still have a deal with him after the Culling Games are all done with. Basically, he probably still wants to deal with the Jujutsu high law and all that type of stuff more than likely. Megumi says whatever it is, it won't be difficult because I'm the head of the Zenin clan now, which Hikari and Kirara are shocked to hear about the most, more than the other two, and Hikari instantly thinks of cooperating with Megumi to keep the Fight Club going, to keep from Jujutsu law from interfering with his business. Hikari had this goofy ass look on his face saying, Fushiguro-kun, let's get along. I guess now he won't be calling them sea urchin head anymore. So, Fushiguro had to throw his weight around and let him know, like, hey, come on, I'm the new head of the Zenin clan now. But in the next little panel right after that, it says that the Zenin clan massacre happened the day after this. So it's kind of, I really want to see the aftermath of how that's going to play, because I've always felt that like Maki after this, she's going to be targeted by the higher ups, and possibly you could easily say that like, oh, the higher ups could look at Megumi and say, oh, maybe you put her up for this, maybe you did this. Either way, I feel like the Maki stuff with the Zenin clan, it was very satisfying to see her do that, but at the same time it's gonna come with a lot of repercussions, I feel like. So I'm really interested to see what happens when they find out when all this happened. And here's where things turn up a little bit. A Kogane shows up with a ringing like noise, catching everyone off guard, and announces a new rule has been added. The new rule number 9, being players can view the information of others, such as names, points, number of times they've added rules, and the residing colony that they're in. And we have a new character by the name of Kashimo Hajime, and he just killed a player and says all of these guys are weaklings, and he's looking for Sukuna. His Kogane says you should add a rule since you have 200 points. Thus the new rule was stated. And by the way, that guy he killed, my God, he had he left a hole in his stomach. The top of his head, I think, was chipped off a bit, and a huge dent in the brick wall behind him. This guy has to be legit. So, this dude might be something. But the Kogane with our squad apparently began to talk normally and sounds different from before. The Kogane says, I was just doing an announcement, but right now I'm speaking as the contact for Yuji Itadori. Which, by the way, before I move on, I just found out that Kogane translates to golden, and Kenjaku talks about the Heian era back in Shibuya art, which was looked at as like the golden age for the curses and sorcerers. I just thought that was a cool possible tie-in, and I like, how when certain words kind of connect to like other meanings. That's kind of cool to me. But anyway, Megumi says, hold on, how is Yuji already a player? He says, aside from the people who are distributed as cursed weapons or cursed objects from Kenjaku, you can only become a player if you enter a colony. We get a flashback of Kenjaku saying the people who I had in just cursed objects like Yuji and the other people who I turned into cursed weapons and objects are what's left of the sorcerers, are those I made painstakingly made vows with a millennium ago. and that Sukuna used to be a human, but that was over 1,000 years ago. Yuji says it's Sukuna, which obviously, it's from him eating Sukuna finger all the way back in chapter 1. Megumi says maybe Sukuna made a vow to be an object with Kenjaku, but Yuji ate the finger on his own free will. Clearly Megumi is just confused how all this is coming together, so he's kind of wondering like, how did all this connect, but Yuji ate the finger, so he's kind of thrown off by that. The Kogane pulls up info on other players and they find out that it's Kashimo who made the new rule. In just the last few days, he's killed at least 40 people. Megumi usually comes to the conclusion that since people who were incarnated by Kenjaku probably don't have high motivations to add any rules for any reason whatsoever, they will simply just beat them up and force them to add a rule. Only those who have 100 points, of course. They find the info on the other person who has 100 points, Higurume Hiromi, and will use rule number 8 to their advantage. The rule of which, if you have the same number of points for the 19 days straight, you will be subject to curse technique removal. And the 2 new rules that Megumi wants to add are a rule that allows others to swap points with one another, so they won't have to worry about, that rule number 8, obviously. And the second rule being allowing players to lead the Culling game by spending points. Akari says, but wasn't that class with the permanent clause? Megumi says it's possible, but we will create a rule that forces a non-player to take their place in the game. Either way, they will search for the angel Hanakaruzu to help free Gojo, and we will be hunting down Kashimo, Hajime, and Higurume Hiromu, and that is the end of the chapter. Man, that chapter got me so hyped for the next one, because we're finally got to start the Culling game, obviously. But man, I didn't expect we were gonna actually get 2 new characters. I kind of was expecting 1, but 2 was kind of like, okay, I see where we're going, and both of them interest me a lot, mainly because of, for 2 reasons for each character. Kashimo, mainly because of the whole, I want to know more about these other sorcerers. Not a lot, but mainly just what they did prior to their death, obviously, because they are kind of pretty much reincarnated. And Kashimo looks kind of legit. He has the pony. His weapon looks like a staff or something like that, or maybe like a wand, I don't know. And then this Hiromi dude, he has a mallet, but it's a judge mallet, so maybe back in his day he was a judge, obviously, or maybe that's just a weapon of choice. But I'm interested to see what we do with those 2 and who we fight with those. And apparently Yuta is not in either of those colonies. He's in the Miyagi colony, so he's in another one away from those 2. Man, and I'm glad we got some lore on like the Culling game. We got some lore on some of the other sorcerers, like what Kenjaku said, like how they all came about a little bit. The fact that Sukuna possibly made a vow with Kenjaku is interesting to me, which kind of surprises me, because maybe they had their own little deal going with one another. So that it kind of makes sense, because Sukuna was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna die eventually, so turn me into an object so I can be reincarnated of some sort. But man, I'm just excited, because like I know the Culling game has been, to me, it's been built up slowly, and I've kind of enjoyed it, because we got the Maki stuff, we got the Hikari stuff, we're getting some nice little lore and info, and I wasn't really one of those people who was like, oh, this is getting boring because we're not getting anything hype, because I knew we were gonna get something. But then like the next couple of arcs, you just gotta let it build up, like most other arcs in manga do. But man, the possibilities are like endless right now with the stuff we got set up. And then I really want to know, even though he's not super intriguing to me, that Joker guy, I wonder if he's gonna be coming into play anytime soon with the 3 we got right now. I kind of highly doubt it. He seems like something that's gonna be very like side quest type beat with that. But I also want to know what like Hashima wants to, like, why they want to meet with Sukuna. That interests me. I wonder what would the reason be, or is it maybe it's just because he wants to fight Sukuna because he's strong? Maybe it could be something simple as that. I don't know. But the Hiromi dude, he looks like the more crazy one to me. He definitely seems like he's maybe there's a political side to him. I don't know, but damn, I mean, this is a nice start to what is officially the Culling game. Chapter 159, I know is gonna be crazy. I'm telling you right now, I feel like the Culling game fights are going to be insane. The layouts that we had, because remember, we're just gonna be all over Japan, so the layouts for the fights are gonna be crazy. Some of the moments, I want to see more Yuji character stuff. For me, recently, I really be just enjoying Yuji's mental state through all of this right now. Megami has been fire throughout everything with this Akari stuff and Kirara stuff. I wouldn't be shocked if we got a Kirara and Akari team up later on. Man, then maybe obviously more Panda, then eventually the Maki meet up, and then the Yuta meet up. Oh man, and obviously we got Tengen, Choso, Yuki. I wonder, that seems like it's gonna be very dialogue heavy, and when that comes about, I'm gonna be really tuned in to see what's going on with that, mainly for Yuki's side, because he's always a mystery to me. But that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed that video, leave me a like, comment how you feel about the chapter down below, and subscribe if you enjoyed my content. Doing a lot of JJK stuff obviously over here. Chapter reviews every week, coming out with more non-chapter review content eventually, and then I'm got my own little series and playlist y'all can check out in my playlist section. But hope you all have a great day. I'll holler at y'all on the next one. Peace.